Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Beyond the Ordinary with me, Ritika Furtado Sharma. For this episode, I sat down with a truly remarkable individual, a distinguished oncologist with a very unique approach to healing. Many years ago, I worked alongside Dr. Gupta to help people improve their mental balance during some of life's toughest moments. Dr. Gupta's philosophy aligns with IKEA's beliefs, which is while diseases have various roots, emotional wellness plays a significant role and very often goes unnoticed. So I wanted to start this conversation because I want you to realize that the anger, the stress, the sadness that we carry with us in our daily lives that we think is normal, if you let it fester, it could lead to more serious things down the road. So why wait for anger to turn to rage, for sadness to go into depression, for stress to create chaos? Why wait till you're feeling stuck and stagnant and you just want to give up? Why wait? You can start today with simple tools that you can use to turn your mindset around. And of course, if you need any additional help, we're always here for you at IKEA The One. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce you to Dr. Sachin Gupta.
My name is Sachin Gupta. So I'm a cancer specialist basically. I'm a medical oncologist and hemato-oncologist. And I'm currently director of medical oncology and hemato-oncology department at Max Super Speciality Hospital in Mohali, Punjab, India. I belong to Patiala, which is a city in Punjab, and I've done a lot of my training in Ludhiana, DMC, and also at Rajiv Gandhi Cancer Institute, Delhi. Then I worked in various hospitals like Artemis Hospital and Medanta Medicity Hospital in Gurgaon. And for last nearly 13 years, I'm now working in Max Hospital in Mohali. And I have a wonderful wife named Shweta. She is a gynecologist and two children. Arshia is into law school, and Aditya, my youngest son, he is in ninth standard.
So you and I worked many moons ago. We worked together on emotional wellness, and it was a really nice, like really fun time. But one of the things that I noticed about you is that you're very passionate about emotional wellness side by side to your regular practice.
Yes. So if I remember, even in my MBBS days and when I was doing the MD medicine in DMC Ludhiana,
Yep.
I came across this book, Love, Medicine and Miracles. So this is by a surgeon, Dr. Bernie Siegel. And so this talk a lot about patients' emotional well-being and how to handle the psychology of patient and how it affects the doctor and how what should be the approach of doctor to the patient.
Yep.
And of course, being into spiritual path and so Autobiography of a Yogi is a great book by Sri Paramahansa Yogananda, which talks about a lot of principles of health, of yoga, and of reincarnation, of karma, and about meditation. So I had some background already. So I now came across this book, Many Lives, Many Masters by Dr. Brian Weiss. He's a
Weiss,
hypnotherapist. Yeah.
Yes.
And so it took off from there then. And then I came across Blossom Furtado, your mother. And so I attended these courses of hypnotherapy with her. And so then it really happened. So my dream of combining this allopathic medicine, that is looking after the physical health of my patients, along with holistic medicine, which to me is like looking after the emotional well-being, relationships, and also incorporating energy medicine and principles of meditation, love and forgiveness. So all these concepts, they combine together in what I wanted to practice. And this, again, a lot of things I owe and I have learned from Blossom.
Dr. Sachin, can you think of any example that you have seen where the emotional well-being of a patient completely changed their physical health?
So we have had patients who were too depressed. So, being physically ill, once diagnosed with cancer, of course, it's a shocking thing to happen to anybody. And so there is tremendous fear attached with this diagnosis. And patients usually have a feeling that their lifespan has it is short lifespan, and they are not going to live much. So it automatically leads to a lot of anxiety, anger, resentment, depression, sadness, So all these feelings are there. When we give them this information to look after their emotional well-being and also to do some practices like meditation and also to work upon their relationships, so they are able to do away with lot of grudges and hard feelings they are keeping for their family members. Every family has issues. There are a lot of things which have transpired between family members which has led to a lot of resentment, grief, sadness. There's a lot of feeling of injustice that somebody was not there in time of need. So then they have to realize that they are connected as a family. They are soulmates to each other. So this kind of realizations come when such a severe sickness comes in the family. And once forgiveness happens, the lot of blockages clear, and that leads to some kind of cleansing, inner cleansing which happens, and then patients feel lighter and better. Of course, it may not lead to physical healing always. If we have advanced stage cancers, we should not always expect that the cancer will totally melt away or the patient would be totally cured of the disease. But then again, the people who do work upon themselves in their relationships and on their emotional well-being, they actually do better in their treatment. They are able to better handle the side effects of the treatment. They are more contented. They are more they have more acceptance to the treatment and less resentment. They are able to better handle everything. And with the relationships improving and family members by their side, then the whole journey becomes better. And of course, we have stories where people have cured themselves, and we have stories where they may not have, be able to cure themselves, but at least they have a lot of, peace and contentment with life. And by learning higher spiritual truths of birth, of reincarnation, of soul journey, of soulmates, of family members, of unconditional love, their journey becomes truly beautiful. And even if they are not cured, they can at least they pass to the other realm peacefully. In this way, it makes a lot of difference. This knowledge itself makes a lot of difference to them.
So, but you must be quite a unique doctor in that way then. Like the patients come to you and it's not just their, medical treatment that is happening, but it's like you're solving
Yes.
a greater issue.
So you're absolutely right. So because people will not visit a doctor for spiritual advice, right? So they come to me for their physical body treatment. So but then when I talk of these things, so they are surprised. But then of course everybody likes it. The kind of connect it helps me make with them when we help them in their emotional front also, and also on a lot of things on nutrition, on lifestyle, on let's say grounding, on chanting, meditation. So a lot of things which we do with them, it makes their whole treatment experience also better.
When you
Practices
give
and
all these information, do they absorb it immediately, or do you find a lot of resistance sometimes?
so it depends upon what background the patient and the family is coming from. So if they already have some spiritual experiences and knowledge about these practices, then the receptibility is better. But for a lot of them, these things are new, and it also depends upon their physical suffering at that point of time. If the body is in too much of pain, you can't expect the patient to do a lot of spiritual work at that time. First you have to take care of the physical body's pain. Only when you make the patient comfortable, then patient would be able to do such things. So the experience may be different for each person.
You mentioned that for patients coming to you, they have a lot of fear, anxiety, anger, frustration. So, according to you, what are the methods that people who are going through that? So, not only patients, I'm going to, extend it to people who are going through just a really, really tough phase in their lives. But of course, getting a cancer diagnosis is one of them, but also people going through a really bad low. what would you say should be the must, like the things they absolutely should do to get out of that?
The first thing is awareness. The patient has to become aware of the problem that the patient is facing and what could be the root cause of the problem, right? So, cancer is multidimensional. The causes are too many. So, from ranging from smoking to lifestyle to genetics, heredity to environmental pollution and radiation. But the most ignored thing is the stress and the hard feelings, grudges, guilt. So all these feelings which the person is keeping for years and years together, that is causing blockages in the chakra system. That is in turn leading to diseases in particular organs, depending upon the blockages which are created. So awareness, and after awareness, and if we are able to find some root cause and we are able to pinpoint the issues, then the person has to really make efforts to to get onto the root cause and mend whatever is possible. So then there are tools how to handle, how to do this. So there comes the role of, let's say, deep breathing, chanting, some practices which help you to become peaceful. If you have to summarize in few words, then uh, developing love and contentment, and having gratitude to everybody, and forgiveness. The forgiveness and all these things become easier once a therapist is guiding the patient. So I do send people for these sessions, whoever requires.
Dr. Sachin, you mentioned gratitude, and that is something that we talk a lot about at IKEA, even at HSI. So, can you tell me a little bit about why do you feel gratitude is important, and how has it impacted your life personally?
So I believe in a simple principle: the more you thank, the more shall you receive. So these teachings come from our scriptures, and so the universe is giving us a lot, but we are not thankful enough. The somehow the flow, the energy flow of the gifts we receive may stop if we are not grateful enough. It's as simple as that. And but universe is still kind that we are so ungrateful, but still we keep on receiving a lot of gifts. But if we look around us, let's look at nature. So mother nature gives us a lot of things, but we are causing pollution, we are damaging, we are uprooting trees, we are spoiling the groundwater by chemicals. But somehow then some kind of natural calamities happen all the time. Then we are reminded of that maybe we are doing something wrong with our environment. And aware people do try to do something, but a lot of people live in ignorance. They are not making enough efforts. But as a society, everybody has to bear the brunt of the calamities which happen in nature.
I also want to talk a little bit about caregivers of people who are suffering, who have a severe illness. We rarely talk about them, and they're the ones that are looking after the patient. So they're the ones who are going through the most stress. How would you say, or what should they be doing to sort out there to keep their mental balance?
You have asked a very important question. The doctor, the therapist, everybody is focusing on the patient, the index case which comes to them. But now the whole family is getting affected by the by the patient who is suffering at the moment. So now there is, suppose wife is suffering, the husband is also involved in the care. So for in our field, like in cancer field, the patient has to make a lot of visits to hospital, maybe for chemotherapy, for radiation, and there are many days of hospital stay as well because of various reasons. So somebody is taking time off from their job, from their shop, from their place of work, and which is a very challenging thing in today's time. So there is economic loss, work loss. Of course, there is financial impact of all this, apart from the emotional impact of somebody suffering. So the caregiver is equally stressed and sometimes even more stressed than the patient itself. And so the family members also need to look after themselves, very rightly said. And the similar practices help them also. So they need to do some kind of practices which help them keep their mental balance in check. So they need to be calm, peaceful, because the caregiver has a lot of anxiety and also anger, and patients can be very unreasonable and childish in their behavior. So the family has to deal with the nutritional needs of the patient, and because of the treatment, the patient has lot of loss of appetite, not able to eat or doesn't want to eat. So there is constant fight amongst the family members of regarding nutrition. So we counsel patient as well as family members to be reasonable with each other and to respect each other's limitations. And so these are, of course, very challenging things, but then family members again have to learn tricks how to handle the patient, how to take care of the nutrition, and also how to take care of themselves, how to keep their peace in place, how to be calm.
I'm just trying to imagine your patients coming to you with a severe illness and you telling them that your chakra here is not working or something. Do you ever get a patient who looks at you and says, "What's happening? What are you talking about? Like, I don't know what is happening."
Yeah, so thankfully, in Indian patients do have some knowledge already because of our traditional wisdom and the knowledge which is getting passed on from generations. So some kind of background they already have, and moreover, the energy work practitioners are very few. So, I remember Blossom always tells every family needs a healer, right? So we need an army of healers to do this emotional well-being work. And but unfortunately, such practitioners, such therapists are they're not available readily. And so we need more such people who are able to do energy work, who are able to help people understand their emotional well-being, understand their relationship problems. I find that this emotional work is even difficult than treating the physical body. People don't
Really?
want to make effort.
Yes, that is true.
It's very challenging to change habits, to change belief systems. It needs a lot of commitment, courage, willpower, and perseverance to do all this. So some people, when they have such severe illness like cancer, and they are shaken away by this diagnosis, then they have some awareness and awakening, and try to do something. But a lot of people are not able to do all this. So there comes the difference, that who would be able to overcome their suffering and rise above all this, or who would be not able to do this and live in depression.
In fact, one of our biggest missions at IKEA is to change people's perception about just exactly what you said, because we find a lot of people come to us when they are at, like, from an emotional point of view, they're like at a 1 or a 2. And I'm always telling people, when you're even at a 4 or a 5 and you feel like, the trajectory is going downwards, raise your hand then. Why do you wait until you've reached a 1, 0, or -1? And that's what's been our mission. And that's why these conversations are also so important to have, so that we can get that out. Another question then, Dr. Sachin, is, have you faced any challenges? Because it's not normal to find a doctor who's also trying to integrate two completely different fields. So have you found any challenges among your peers? And if you have, then how have you overcome them?
The challenge is not actually with my peers. The challenge is with the time available to all this. We are so overwhelmed with the physical work we are doing that very little time is left for the emotional and energy work. I wish I had more people like you in my team, in my in my near vicinity, in my office, in my department, who are daily there to do all these things. Now such people are rare. So we need more people like trained like you, who are there in the hospital with the doctors doing all this. That would really help.
Based on that, then what advice would you give to rising doctors, nurses, and people in the medical profession?
So look, patient has come to the doctor and nurse or to the hospital because they are suffering, right? So one is the physical suffering, which we identify by doing tests, by examination, we are treating them. But behind that, there is a lot of emotional, mental, and spiritual suffering happening, right? So even if we are not able to, not trained or don't know how to treat all that, but we can at least, bring up some conversations where we can, the patients are able to reflect upon their problems, and then we can guide them to at least therapist or people who can help the emotional well-being, or the therapist who can do, like, let's say hypnotherapy, like pranic healing, like reiki. So all these practices we can combine along with, and also promote, love, forgiveness, and some kind of meditation techniques, and the tools which the, these patients and their family members learn and practice for not only their physical well-being but for their emotional and spiritual well-being also.
And how do you then take care of your own mental balance? Because you've got like a
Yeah.
really busy, and your work is not easy, like to give people that diagnosis,
Yeah.
then to try and find a way out. Then you have a life back home with a wife, two kids who are growing up, and you're like quite a close knit unit as well. So, how do
Mm.
you manage that?
So thankfully, I'm associated with my spiritual organization, which is Yogda Satsang Society by Sri Sri Paramahansa Yogananda. So we have learned meditation techniques there, like Kriya Yoga, and so morning, evening, we are practicing these meditation techniques, and some light exercises are there, and of course, some deep breathing, some music, some kind of, some vacations off and on we take to keep ourselves, to take our mind off from the routine things. And but I do keep on, I'm running all the time, so that's my challenge. So I feel I am enjoying, completing all those extra tasks which I have, accumulated daily. That gives me a kick, although I get upset also, but maybe completing those, all the tasks which are too many in a particular day, and I keep on challenging myself on daily basis. So once I, do all those things, that gives me extra satisfaction, and that keeps me going. But maybe at some point of time I might slow down and have more relaxed time for myself. But at this point of time, there are a lot of things I'm doing.
So, at this point in time, your challenge is time for self. Is that right? Me
Yeah.
time?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, the last question that I want to ask you is, what advice would you give people at large, like not just doctors and people in the medical profession, but just everybody? So, what kind of things should people start to think of from here forward, according to you?
We spend most of our time, energy, and resources, looking after our physical body, right? So the time we get up in the morning, brushing our teeth and taking a bath, going to washroom and having breakfast, wearing good clothes, applying perfume and creams, very little time, energy, and effort we are spending on our emotional and mental and spiritual well-being. We have to plan our day and at least, find half an hour to 1 hour in morning and evening for these activities, which include some kind of exercise routine, some kind of relaxation techniques, and some means of some tools of meditation, and have to devote time, until unless you devote time to a particular thing, you're not going to, get it automatically. You have to make some effort on that. And then we need some inspiration to do these activities. So that comes from reading some, good books. We are spending a lot of time on social media, on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and we unknowingly we are overspending time there, because these are never ending things. The Facebook, once you open it, it goes on and on. YouTube goes on and on. It never ends. But a book has a starting page and an ending page. So we have to go away from spending time on screens and go back to books. In social media, we are forwarding messages without practicing anything. Any good message, well, suddenly we forward to 10 more people and thinking, oh, bahut acha, we have done great job. Without actually,
Practicing it.
practicing
Yeah.
great quote
Yeah.
or message in our own life.
So you suggested a book called Many Lives, Many Masters, which is also one of my favorite books
Yeah.
of all time. Can you give us another two or three books that, according to you, like are your favorite books?
So look, my all-time favorite is autobiography of a yogi by this is autobiography of my guru Sri Sri Paramahansa Yogananda. I think each and every soul on this planet must read this book. So this book introduces you to spirituality. I would highly recommend this. Then Conversations with God. So this is in nearly 4 volumes by Neil Donald Walsh. I would highly recommend reading this book. And of course, Dr. Brian Weiss books are absolutely great. And Many Lives, Many Masters and Messages from the Masters. Then I would recommend The Secret and the Magic. So by Rhonda Bryan. So these books are really, excellent. Another thing, if you have to go deeper, then I would recommend God Talks with Arjuna. So this is commentary on Bhagavad Gita by Sri Sri Paramahansa Yogananda again, and which gives a true intuitional interpretation of Bhagavad Gita. It's not literary; it is intuitional. So it goes beyond the words.
Wow, wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Sachin. That was great. How do you feel?
Oh wow, lovely conversations, and I hope our listeners they benefit out of this conversation.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Sachin. Have a wonderful evening. And thank you so much again for talking to
Yeah, it
us.
was totally my pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me for this.